Man, sometimes you got to stop, man, let the Lord talk to you. You know, that's what happened to me tonight. I am very, very busy. It's very, very late. You know, it's closer to midnight than it is 9 o'clock. It's late, man, and I already got it planned out. I'm already behind. You know, have you ever been 2 weeks behind, but you ain't got but 5 minutes to finish up? I mean, you're 2 weeks behind, but you got 5 minutes to get it done. And it's that kind of moment. And a lot of times those are the moments that God speaks in. Those are the moments that God will deposit something in your spirit. You say, well, what do you mean God will speak in and this and that? I mean for your business. I mean, you know, God is in the business of advancing you in the earth. I really believe that with everything in my being. And so he will speak things to me or put inclinations in my spirit. And so here I am. I'm busy, man. And someone calls me from another industry, and we really have a professional relationship, more so than a personal. It is personal, but we have a professional arrangement, a professional relationship. And this brother calls me, man, and I answer, which I was shocked I answered in that moment, but I was just about to charge my phone and get back to what I was doing. And as soon as I put it in, the phone rang. I said, well, I see it now, answer. So I answer the call. I figure 2 minutes, and it becomes a ministry moment. And he says, hey, man, I just, God told me to tell you something. God told me to put something in your spirit. I said, okay, brother, I'm listening. And he keeps depositing, and he keeps going. And he's like, man, I'm not no preacher. This ain't what I do. But I wanted to share that with you, and I share some of the things we talked about, or more so the tone of what we talked about. And that is, man, just do what the Lord told you to do. If you're a builder out there, build what he told you to build. You know, I saw something the other day that Apple was $2.3 billion in debt. $2.3 billion in debt, 20, 25 years ago. And now the company's net worth is in the trillions. Man, you got to keep doing what you're doing. You know, what about Tesla? You know, he was crazy. He was going out of business. It wasn't going to be successful. Tesla wasn't going to work. I mean, last I checked, that thing popping, man. You got to be able to trust what's in you. And sometimes we look at the metrics of ROI and what's the return and what's the bottom line and how does this shake out or what's the emotive response of what you're doing. And man, you just got to be faithful. What he tells you to do it. Facebook, you know, it wasn't that they lost money the first few years. They didn't even make money. They didn't even take up any money. They didn't even have a business model that allowed them the transactional process of receiving revenue from you. They didn't even figure that part out. But they knew that they were doing something that was significant and special. But if they tried to use the traditional metrics of business in that moment to say, is this working? It didn't exist. So what they would do is put a value point on the company, and then they ask somebody to loan them a couple $1 million. So the person loans you $10 million for 10%, then that creates a new valuation. Now if someone else gives you $100 million for that same 10%, it changes the valuation. But now they got to the point where they got to figure it out, man. And everybody paying them a little bit of money. They're making so much money now, they can pay you back for creating content. But I just wanted to deposit in you, whoever you are, wherever you are, man, whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, whether you're a family, just be true to what is placed inside of you. You have to birth it. You have to birth that thing out. And the last thing I'll share, and we get out of here together, and I get on home myself, is that you got to grind. This is a grind. And a lot of people think that success just happens. You know, no, baby. You got to grind. You got to fight. You got to do what you do. And you have to be excellent and great at what you do. We can talk again soon, but there's somebody I could not leave tonight without depositing that in your heart, without depositing that in your mind. The first thing I share with you is, man, just do what he told you to do. You know, you think about the story of Jesus when he turned the water into wine. So his mother, Mary, says, hey, listen, whatever he tells you to do, what? Man, just do it. Now, Nike put it on a t-shirt, just do it. But you know, first person came up with that, man, was Mary. Whatever he tells you to do, just do it. Now, I don't know if Phil Knight got it from there or not, but the point is, man, there's something powerful about being true to what's in you. You got to do what's in you to do. If he told you to build a car, build a car. If he told you to build a truck, build a truck. If he told you to build a train, build a train. If he told you to market yourself like Iski with t-shirts. You know, the father of the cam, man, about 80 years ago now, man, he figured that if I can come up with a t-shirt, see, look at me, I got my little t-shirt on. Look at that. That's pretty sharp. Man, he's the first one to do it. You know, we are so used to copycatting. We're so used to doing what other people do, we don't even know how to be original anymore. But he's the one who came up with this. He said, man, we're going to put some t-shirts on. I'm going to put my shop name on it, and you're going to know it's me. Well, it works. Not everybody does it. Boy, Gas Monkey sells so many t-shirts. If I just had 10% of that, boy, I'm going to say, whoa, hallelujah. You know what I mean? What a great fact. So you got to be true, and you got to do what he told you to do. What about the catalogs? You know, there are companies that were in someone's garage somewhere. Boy, they put a catalog together, spent the last few dollars on that catalog, gave that catalog away, and bam, they blew up. You got to do what he told you to do. T.D. Jakes, great preacher. You know, he did Woman Thou Art Loose and Manpower and all that kind of stuff. But he started small, man. I remember hearing him, boy, about, it's probably been 35 years ago now. But I remember seeing him in a little country town. I said, who that old fat preacher there is, you know? He sound like he got something. Old fat preacher, man, we was in an old country Georgia town. Somebody told me, man, come hear this dude, man. I think he got a word. I said, let's just go. And I'm young, you know, I'm young at that time. You know, I don't know, I'm probably 16, 17, something like that. Just trying to get serious with God. Not all the way serious, but just thinking about it. So I go hear this old fat preacher, man, from West Virginia, and they put out the chairs, and, man, couldn't have been about 100 people in there. And when he got finished, I said, you know what, he ain't bad. You got to do what's in you, man. That's all I'm trying to tell you, man. Whatever's in you, whatever's in your heart, man, you got to do that thing, and you got to do it faithful. Just do what he told you to do. I've been in business a long time. I've had a lot of ups. I had a lot of downs. I've had a lot of success building. And some of the greatest successes I've had, I did what he told me to do. Tonight, he told me to record. Now, here I am working. I got paperwork to do. He just told me to stop. I answered the phone. I think the call was 1 hour and 20 minutes. About 30 minutes, I was like, I don't have time. And then the Lord's like, no, son, you got time. And I just listened. Stopped what I was doing, listen. Phone call was over. So it's time to go. And then the Lord said, I need you to speak to someone tonight. So I want you to do, I can't tell you what it is, builder. I just want you to do, and I don't want you to over-spiritualize what I'm saying every time I say Jesus and the Lord and the Word and prayer and the redemption and the rejuvenation. And it's not church talk, man. I just believe that a man can tabernacle with God, man. You can tabernacle with him. You know, he was a carpenter. The rest of them were fishermen. You can tabernacle with him in the day-to-day realities of what he has you to do. Paul was a tent maker. And this is my last thing, and this is somebody else. Listen, man, I'm going to tell you this. Don't let nobody silence you. And don't let nobody tell you you're not worthy of the platform that God has given you or the assignment that God has given you. You can't do it, but he can do it. Who is he compared to God in you? Man, own your story. Do your thing. I am the walking redemption of his glory. See, I say that thing with a swagger. I am restoration. A lot of people think I'm in the car business. I'm in the car business. I'm in the business pulling engines and pulling back. Man, I am in the restoration business. My whole platform is restoration. It ain't these cars, man. It's restoration. It's about building up a thing. It's about believing that things can change. It's about understanding theologically. And this is a lesson a lot of people don't get. Did you know all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God? So we try to capture sins and mistakes and isms. You know, man, last funeral I preached, I didn't preach it for a good man, if there's such a thing. I preached it for a bad man, and I leave you on this one. And to go even deeper, I preached it for a bad man that I really didn't even like. But a family member asked me to say a word. So I knew I had a couple of responsibilities. You know, you got to exalt the Lord. You got to encourage the family. And the hard part is you got to eulogize the deceased. You got to say something good, man, even about a bad one. And what the Lord gave me, man, was a lump in the clay. And I preached about that lump in the clay. And I hope I'm sharing this with somebody. So what God will do, man, let's start with the potter so you can receive it first. So he's just trying to make a pot. Well, clay is lumpy. I was working with my tractor today, fooling with clay. You know, it can be lumpy when you're working with it. It's lumpy. But what the potter does when it has a lump in it, he doesn't cut out the lump. He just keeps his hands there and he rubs it and massages the lump in the clay. Now, this illustration is not a beautiful illustration that I'm putting together. Jesus put it together. And he taught about the lump. And the Bible talks about the potter and the clay and all of that. But man, you're going to have lumps in your life. You're going to have lumps in your business. You're going to have lumps in your relationship, lumps in your marriage. You're going to have lumps in the story of your life. And you're going to have, boy, you ever read that over there in the Psalms that talk about the seat of the scornful and the mocker? Man, you got a whole crowd of folks just sitting here looking for lumps in people. You know, some folks sit around and people watch people. They just see your lump, man. Hey, man, next time somebody bothers you about your lump and it mess with you, man, you just tell them, man, did you see the Lord's hand there? Did you see the Lord's hand there? You'll be amazed at how that'll silence them. Did you see his hand in my life? Is what you got to ask him. Did you see how he touched me right there? Did you see how he blessed me right there? Sometimes you got to dramatize it. Did you see what he gave me? Man, I moved around my land today. It's mine, baby. I moved around my land with my tractors. My tractors, baby. I'm just old little country boy, man. Just moving around my land. Playing in the mud. Had one of my young guys out there say, hey, man, this is how you drag that rake and that shovel. And boy, he's standing ankle deep in the mud. I said, man, I got to buy you some booze. And we laughed and hugged and had fun on my land. Man, you got to smell what God has done in your life. Because you get caught up in the lumps, man. I got to get out of here. I got to go home. I'm going to show you this dog out here. Everybody gone. Well, that door is locked. But everybody's gone. It's late. I'm about to go. And it's I gotta cut those lights off too. But I just wanted to speak to you before I left. And I wanted you to be encouraged. encouraged to listen to what he told you to do. I want you to be encouraged to do what he told you to do. Sometimes it don't work out like you think, but if you just do what he told you to do, and if you will consistently do what he told you to do, man, it's going to be all right, man. But what did he tell you to do, builder? And I want you to hear this from a business perspective. See, the gospel is real, man. It ain't about going to church, sitting down and talking about hallelujah. Nah, that is important. But, man, it's about having the God of all creation sit down on the throne room of your heart, man. That's what it's about. It's about a clean God loving a dirty, muddy people. You know, in the old black church, man, we said it this way, man. Here I am, thirsty. Here I am, empty. But I'm standing before a full fountain. Standing before the full fountain of his presence. Man, I'm talking to somebody. And the way I preach, the way I teach, the way I share, hey, man, you can ask me anything about my life. It ain't, hey, man, my life is your life. My story is your story. You follow what I'm saying? Because I want you to be encouraged. I want you to make it. But I got to go. But look here. When I see that city class car sign, boy, they do something to me. See, you see what I'm talking about? It do something to me, man. It do something. I'm gonna drive this old truck home, and I'm gonna enjoy it with the title in my file cabinet. Boy, I'm gonna drive it home and enjoy it. I'm gonna leave those here with the title in my file cabinet. See, when God starts breathing on you, He starts breathing on you. I'm going to leave that Maybach here with the title in my file cabinet. I want you to hear this, builder. You got to do what God told you to do, man. I'm going to leave my Z06 here and drive it another day. Now, some folks get caught up in all that. They think I'm show standing and grandstanding. Well, here's what I want to know. You know, we call it testimony in the church. Why you can talk about my lump, but I can't talk about what he did for me, man. I don't understand that. Don't you ever defend your lump. Don't you ever, whatever lump in your life, don't you ever defend it. You'll watch me do a lot of videos. I don't defend a thing about my life. Not one single line item. It's called a redemption and rejuvenation of Almighty God. We are saved by grace, lest any man should boast. I just want you, man. God is raising up a nation of builders. It's in my heart, it's in my spirit. A nation of builders. They got tattoos and lumps in their life and bad credit, and they've been evicted, and they had a couple of shops fail, and all that kind of stuff going on. They on their third wife. See? Old lumpy people. God is developing. You know, you done had heroin and cocaine in your body, and see, don't you allow. Man, I had a call tonight, hour and a half, ministering back and forth, and this well-respected professional, and man, I just keep your head up, builder, whoever you are. You be encouraged, man. You have something special. You have the knowledge and the intimacy of restoration. See, the best car is not the car on the showroom floor. Nah, I got a bunch of cars around here. You know, in this little section, maybe that Vet is the most expensive one right here. It's definitely not the most impressive. Definitely not. It might be that one. 1916 Buick. Sucker don't even run. Leaning to one side. It might be that not because of the style, but the story. How long have, man, I've been trying to get it running for some years. One part, I subcontracted out to a brother in I think he's in California. Took me 2 years to get that one part back. And he called me and said, man, I'm sorry. Hey, man, God is developing something in your life. You might be like that 1960 Buick. See, you ain't there yet. But I want you to just look at my life. Google me, baby. Check me out. Look me up. I want you to look at my life and see what God did. I mean, the family God gave me, the home that God gave me, the children, the facilities, the staff, the platform, the influence. You know, the yen that money spilled backwards. What God has done, man, builder, he wants to do it for you. It's about raising you up, man, so you serve a need in the community, but at the same time, man, God gonna breathe on you and bless you. I hope that bless you tonight. Man, I got to get out of here. It's late. And I got to get home because I got to come back early in the morning. Willie gonna get here early. And I got to try to be Willie here. So, I'll see y'all. Catch you next time.